2020. Now tell me, as you sang Auld Lang Syne, did you guess that 2020 wasn't so benign? And how quickly we would all be confined by coughing and stopping and internet shopping? A life of unmute, no commute, but weirdly Zoom bombing? And cover your face and track and trace and competing for supermarket delivery space? By March, we're all confined. I wander to the shop and I feel something deep inside. No matter how hard I try, I cannot turn it off until finally it's coming and I have to cough. I try and explain it's just a tickle, a mild sniffle. I'm quite insistent, it's not persistent. And as farm foods is emptied by a shopper's scrum, I sat outside and cried and wondered how I was going to wipe my bum. I mean, the world's gone all 28 days later. This is what it comes to, using scrunched up newspaper. How fine the line between sophistication and desperation. A whole civilization now overnight is holding out for a vaccination. But with that first lockdown came something great. As spring sprang to summer, a beauty shone among the weight. I watched the lady from 2 doors up, carrying a plate of something steaming down to number 8, who's locked in with a couple of kids to self-isolate. So we clapped and WhatsApped and waited and hoped and grieved and wept. But in time, the good intentions faded. The neighborliness that I paraded degraded. And then it happened. And we knew someone who died. And as we cried and wept, and in our grief, it broke our belief that this was just some distant test, a giant disruption, a forced rest, a blip from normal consumption, that Sweden was some kind of Eden. For we had lost and grieved, and it had taken what could never be retrieved. For this was never just about jobs or NHS or money. And as we watched our friends struggling for breath, an ancient reminder, this is about the oldest enemy of them all, death. And so again, we grieved and wept and felt bereft of hope. But 2020 also spotlighted another pandemic, a racist endemic, a privileged systemic, a bigoted scourge, a need to purge the other. What are you to me, a blight or plight? My anger intense at your expense, how dare you speak or spotlight my offense? And we saw social distancing is nothing new. Their whole communities kept out of view. And so we watched in agony the kneeling on another man's neck, and kneeling to show respect, and kneeling to protest. And so again we grieved and wept and felt bereft of hope. So pack them away, tear them down, the tinsel tree, and cheer. I'm sorry, Chris Rea, but no one's driving home this year. And what did I learn from 2020? What was the goal? We never struggled before to fill the void in our soul. Those manicured lives always felt whole, hidden behind an infinite scroll. And I was holding down the lid on Pandora's box and papered over death with a hedonistic Botox, with 1,000 distractions of life's best attractions. Until the pandemic laid waste to all illusions, the shattered statue of control was just an illusion. My need to travel proven to be a delusion. Social validation laid waste by a forced occlusion. So here is my grand conclusion. We're in need of a purpose transfusion. And so we hear ringing from the church of heaven-born Prince of Peace. We grieved and wept and felt bereft. And dare we dream of hope? Did you not compute? Christmas is off. Santa is destitute. It's probably best if I forget to unmute.